Do people understand you but never seem impressed by your English? It might be because you're not saying enough. In this lesson, I'll show you exactly how to fix that by adding just a little more detail the right way. Are you ready? Well then, I'm teacher Tiffany. Let's jump right in. The very first thing we have to understand is, what is a detail? Details are specific pieces of information that add depth, clarity, and richness to your statements. In other words, they help you speak English more fluently. Now, there are three specific reasons why details are so important. Reason number one, they improve the listener's understanding. When you give clear and specific details, your listener can easily follow your thoughts and not be confused. So let's check out some examples based on this reason. Here's the first example. Imagine you're talking about your job and you give a basic response. You say, "I work in marketing." That's a basic response, but why is it not effective? This is not effective because it gives no insight into your actual role, responsibilities, or industry. It doesn't give enough information. Now watch what happens when we add details. Here's a better response. Describing your job with details. I work in digital marketing for a healthcare company where I manage social media campaigns and create content for medical professionals. Now that right there is a good response. Why? Because we have the details. What about this example? In this example, you are speaking about your weekend plans, and you give this basic response. I'm going to hang out with friends. That's a good response. It tells me what you're going to do, but why is it not effective? This response, this basic response, does not paint a picture of the actual activities or make the plans sound interesting. When someone asks you about your weekend plans, if you say, "I'm going to hang out with friends," there are lots of question marks in their mind. What are you going to do? Who are you going to go with? So check out this response now with details. Again, explaining your weekend plans. Now the response is, I'm meeting my college friends at a rooftop restaurant in the city where we'll have brunch and catch up while enjoying the skyline. This is a good response because we added details. Now, what about this third example? This third example, again, we're still on the first reason why details are so important. Why? They help improve the listener's understanding. And our third example is describing your hometown. Now, this is what the basic response would be. My hometown is nice. I just spoke English. However, it was a basic response and it wasn't effective. Why is this not effective? The word nice is vague and it doesn't give any real information about the place. So how can we add details to make this a more effective response? Here is the response with details. Again, describing your hometown. My hometown is a coastal city with beautiful beaches, a historic lighthouse from the 1800s, and amazing seafood restaurants along the boardwalk. Now that's a response a listener will understand. I can see your hometown. You've given me enough details. So again, reason number one, it improves the listener's understanding of what you're saying. Now, reason number two, why details are so important. They keep the conversation engaging. Again, concise and vivid details Capture the listener's attention and make your stories or explanations much more interesting. This is reason number 2 why details are so important. So let's go to example number 1. Example number 1. Now we're going to look at you in a situation speaking about your vacation. Now, in this situation, your basic response would be, I went to Japan last summer. Great response. However, there are no details. So why is this basic response not effective? The reason why this is not effective is because this reveals nothing about the experiences or what made the trip special. We don't know anything about your trip. We only know that you went to Japan. So what would happen if we added details to this response? Let's check out the details for this response. Now, you are watching this lesson or listening to it, and it's being brought to you by the Speak English Like a Native course. This is a course and membership created by me, Teacher Tiffany, to help you speak English fluently. If you want to improve your English fluency and each month get a new topic to help you, go to speakenglishwithtiffany.com/SELN. Again, speakenglishwithtiffany.com/SELN. Now, this is how the response would sound with details. I spent 2 weeks exploring Japan last summer, where I learned to make sushi from a local chef, hiked Mount Fuji at sunrise, and stayed in a traditional ryokan with hot springs. You heard it right. All of those extra details enabled you and me to have this picture painted in our mind. This is what happens when you give details. What about this example? Example number 2. Again, we're still on reason number 2, keeping the conversation engaging. Here's the second example, describing your hobby. Here's a basic response. I like photography. Okay, that's your hobby. I know what it is, but why is this not effective? It's not effective because this doesn't show your passion or what kind of photography interests you. We don't know any other information, so we must add details. Check out the response now with the additional details. Again, describing your hobby. I'm passionate about wildlife photography, especially capturing birds in flight. And I spend weekends in nature reserves with my telephoto lens, waiting for the perfect morning light. That is a better way to describe your hobby, including the 3 details, making your response much more engaging. What about this example? Again, looking at the example for this reason. Again, keeping the conversation engaging. The topic, talking about your pet. The basic response, I have a dog. That's good. But why is this not an effective response? It's not effective because this gives no insight into your pet's personality or your relationship. We don't know anything else. So how can we change this response? Here's the response with details. Again, talking about your pet. I have a 3-year-old golden retriever who loves swimming in lakes, volunteering as a therapy dog at local hospitals, and stealing socks from the laundry basket. I used 3 details to give you more information about my pet. You see what's happening, right? This is why giving details, it's so important for you to give them so that you can speak English more fluently. What about the third reason? The third reason why it's so important to give details. Details build credibility and confidence. Clear details make you sound more knowledgeable and confident when speaking, which builds trust with your listener. What does this look like? I want you to take a look at this example. Example number 1, sharing professional experience. What's the basic response? I work in customer service. Not bad, but it's not effective. Why is this not an effective response? This gives no indication of your expertise, responsibilities, or achievements. We need to give more information. Again, remember, building credibility and confidence. So what would this response look like with more details? Again, sharing professional experience. Here's the response. I've managed a team of 15 customer service representatives for the past 5 years, implemented a new ticketing system that reduced response times by 40%, and maintained a 98% customer satisfaction rating. I would hire this individual. I would hire them. Why? Because I have the details. What you did. Yes, you are amazing. This is why details are so powerful, helping you speak English fluently, helping the person stay engaged, and helping them understand what you're saying. Here's the second example. Let's say we are discussing your educational background, and your basic response is, I studied business. That's a fact. It's a true fact, but it's not effective. Why is this not effective? This doesn't showcase your specific knowledge or achievements in your field. So how can we give a better response? Yes, you said it, by adding details. What would the response be with the extra details? Again, discussing your educational background. I earned my bachelor's in international business with a focus on Asian markets, completed a semester abroad in Singapore, and graduated with honors while leading the Student Investment Club. That's a good response. That's a response that includes 3 details to help other individuals, those listening to you, understand and remain engaged. What about this example right here? Example number 3, explaining your skills. Here's the basic response if you're explaining your skills. I know how to cook. Again, I know how to cook. That's a fact, but it's not effective. Why is it not effective? This doesn't demonstrate your actual culinary expertise or experience. What's a better way to respond? Adding details. Again, explaining your skills. I've completed 3 professional cooking courses specializing in French cuisine, worked as a sous chef in a Michelin-starred restaurant, and currently teach weekend cooking classes at our local culinary school. That's a good response. Why? Because we included the details. This simple change will have a drastic effect on your English fluency. I hope you enjoyed this lesson. Don't forget, if you want to continue studying with me, all you have to do is go to today's sponsor, my course. Go to speakenglishwiththiffany.com/SELN. The link is also in the description, and you can continue studying with me on a regular basis with new topics each month. I'll talk to you in the next lesson. You still there? You know what time it is. It's story time. Hey, hey, hey. I said it's story time. All right. I want to tell you about one of my high school teachers who had the most impact on my life. If you've been with me for a while, you've heard about my English teacher, Miss Candelaria. But I have another teacher who also impacted me very much during my high school years. And in today's lesson, I explained to you the simple tweak that could help you speak English more fluently, adding details. And my teacher, his name was Mr. Hooker. If he ever watches this, Mr. Hooker, you really impacted my life so many years ago. So Mr. Hooker was my pre-calculus teacher. Pre-calculus, I think I might have been a sophomore or a junior when I took pre-calculus. It was not easy at all. And I have always enjoyed learning and studying. And in high school, I was very studious. I studied hard. I also was athletic. For some reason, though, I could not get a grasp of pre-calculus. He would explain things in class, and he was an excellent teacher, very intelligent, borderline genius, and I just could not grasp some of the concepts. And I remember one day, it was during our lunch period, I walked to his classroom and saw that he was sitting there. And I said, "Mr. Hooker?" He said, "Yes." I said, "I'm really having a hard time. I'm studying hard in class. And then when I go home, I'm studying for hours, but I'm just not getting it." I said, "Can you help me?" And Mr. Hooker, what I remember him doing is whenever I came to him during my lunch period, Mr. Hooker took time to break down the concepts once again to me. He didn't spoon feed me. He made me think, but he helped me so much, and I ended up passing his class. But he was the reason I passed that class. Him sacrificing his lunch period to help a high school student understand some concepts that he was teaching in class. As an adult now, and as an individual who understands the importance of having a lunch break, just being able to kind of relax, it makes me appreciate him even more and what he did. He sacrificed time that he did not have to sacrifice. He could have had his door closed and said, "Do not bother me at this time." But Mr. Hooker took the time to help me understand pre-calculus and the formulas and everything else involved in pre-calculus. And I am grateful to him even to this day. Why am I telling you this story? There are people in your life right now who you might not realize how valuable they are to you. You might not realize their value until later on in life. Or there may have been people in your life in the past that at that time you didn't realize their value, but now you are. If there are individuals from your past or individuals now currently in your life that are valuable, let them know. Say thank you. Something happens when you let someone know they made a difference in your life. I hope I'm making a difference in your life, and I'll continue working hard to help you. I'll talk to you in the next lesson.